So my name is Cohen. I am the founder and CEO of Beyond Bound Studios, which is a game development company that is very involved in the Minecraft space and hosting space. I am the first place winner of the 2025 Volusia Innovation Challenge, where we won $10,000. We did $1,000 at the TREP Expo. I'm a business development consultant at the CIE Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and I am a client of the Volusia Innovation Hub.
That's hard to follow, Lucas. I am Lou Paris. I will use my son's name for a change. I am the Director of Economic Development for Volusia County, and I am an entrepreneur myself. I have been for many years. I've started several companies with varying levels of success, so I understand intimately the pains and the joys of being an entrepreneur and going through the highs and lows in a single day of the things that you get to experience trying to launch and grow a business.
All right, good morning. I'm Nathan Sullivan, software engineer, Embry-Riddle class of 2012, go Eagles, 2012 there. And let's see here, I went out to California. I was a high-performance software engineer for the Intel Corporation for a while, built up a little bit of a pedigree there, and came back and was fortunate to be able to leverage that to start the company that I'm at now, which is MapWare. So far, we've brought in, Ronnie probably has better numbers than I do because I'm not the CFO, I'm the CTO. But we've brought in tens of millions of dollars into Volusia County through investment and federal contracts over the years, trying to push the boundaries of what high performance and survey grade accuracy imaging can do, moving that industry forward. So it's been an exciting place to be part of the MicaPlex and to try to build up a manufacturing base in Volusia County.
Just to tap this question, companies like him and the rest of the research partners generate close to $372 million of economic impact since the building was started in 2017. Because I have to do this.
Good morning, I am Connie Garzon. I am the manager of the Volusia Innovation Hub. Been here in the area almost 18 years now. First, I was the manager of the Small Business Development Center. Then I was the manager of the UCF Business Incubation Program, and now I'm the manager of the Volusia Innovation Hub. If you ask my daughters what your mama does, they would say my mom makes millionaires. And actually, yes, we have made a lot of millionaires here in town, students. Also some international companies based at the MicaPlex. There are a lot of opportunities out there, not only loans or investors by SBR, STR grants. And when you think about where to find money, just think about what we do at the Innovation Hub. We help them with all the resources you need to get the money to start and grow the business.
All right, awesome. So we're going to jump to our first question. When you think about the ecosystem, I really want you to think about centralized resources. Because without individuals that are sitting in front of you, you have to go find these things on your own. Nathan and Lucas, what are some of the key, especially as business owners, what are some of the key resources every ecosystem should have?
Yeah, Ronnie, it's a great question because it's really what sets apart places like we've got the Eagle Flight Research Center right there with their equipment. We've got the MicaPlex and the equipment that's there, and then also Embry-Riddle and the facilities that are available through Embry-Riddle, partnerships with professors, partnerships with students, with other companies that are right here. It's kind of interesting because a lot of times we'll work as a sub. Oftentimes we're primes on federal contracts, but sometimes we work as subs on defense contracts, and we'll work with some of these top 10 defense contractors. And we'll find that we have access to equipment that they don't have. Right? For example, there's several top 10 defense contractors that do not have a wind tunnel like the one that's installed down at the MicaPlex. Most of them do not have small aircraft that they can do testing with. So the access to those types of resources that are unique to a central ecosystem here, but also a very specialized ecosystem, right? This ecosystem isn't set up to support, necessarily the same things that Stanford's ecosystem or UPenn's ecosystem are set up to support. But it is set up to support
So I think in general, when we talk about the ecosystem, the support resources that we have, the mentorship. I started as a client of the CIE last fall in 2024, not knowing anything about how to start an LLC, how do I file this, how do I do that, how do I get funding, and then I went from being a client to now being a consultant there and sitting on this stage. So I think in general, it's really the mentorship resources that are available, and everybody should take advantage of them.
So for my next question, I want to point this to Lou and Connie. Talk a little bit, not just from the hub standpoint, but also the county standpoint. How do you all support entrepreneurs? And what are lesser known resources that we may not think about that they should be aware of?
Want to go first? Okay. Find the button. I would say that every resource is a lesser known resource. And I say that because you can't quite control the entry point of someone into the entrepreneurial ecosystem. So in that light, anything can be an entry point. You can be here right now for the first time getting a taste of entrepreneurship and what it takes to grow a business, and you would be in good company because there's people who can guide you. But if your entry point is a permitting office in the county, or a bank, or a friend, or an uncle, the level of knowledge and understanding of what are the assets in the community vary dramatically. A way that we have tried to address this is by having something called the Volusia Business Resources, and if you look it up, volusiabusinessresources.com, it's a website that attempts to capture all the different types of services and resources that are available to you as a business owner to be able to grow your business. And if I can add one more thing there, let me call the culture a resource. Okay, and one of the most important elements that I've seen to help a community succeed is a culture of normalizing failure. Because make no mistake, you will fail at some point. In fact, I'll tell you, there's people that I've had an initial conversation with about doing something together, and when I asked them, hey, tell me about your background, have you failed any times? When I hear no, it's kind of a red flag because you're an unknown asset. I don't know how well you'll take it when you actually do fail. There's places like Boulder, Colorado, okay? In Boulder, Colorado, they have like a really robust, strong culture, especially around failure. If you fail, they'll freaking throw a party after the failure, a wake, if you will, for the business and ask you, what are you doing next? What did you learn and what are you doing next? We need to get, as a community, to that level. It has to be completely okay to fail. And you may be thinking, well, we kind of have that. Let me kind of show you an example of the opposite. I had a group of students from Austria coming to Volusia County wanting to learn about entrepreneurship, and we were talking about this topic that were freaking out. They said, where we come from, there's no room for error. If you fail once, you're done. I mean, the community will shun you, you'll be put aside, and you're done away with. We need to be exactly the opposite. We need to be bolder in that sense.
So one of the things that I always advise to our clients when talking about ecosystems is first kind of start with what you have around and take advantage of what you see and can help and take. So this event today is one of the examples of an ecosystem. So you are here, you could be somewhere else, you could be like having the student experience at your dorm, just watching Netflix, or scrolling your phone, but you choose to be here. This is amazing. So events like this, you start with this ecosystem, now we are talking about what is available out there. Now if you go 5 miles from here, then you find Volusia County Economic Development at the airport, the Volusia Innovation Hub next to the airport, and then be curious. What is it you are offering at the Volusia Innovation Hub? And they can always say, we did this. I like sometimes students from the Embry-Riddle like the innovation challenge, for instance, the innovation challenge that we run, it's amazing because you see a lot of people out there. I mean, I remember you pitching your company, and I've been watching you. You know, and that's kind of why investors and people from the Center for the Community, this is what we do. We're watching you. So, and I've been watching every single student that is here in Embry-Riddle, and I was telling you, like all of these students that are sitting here, they qualify to be part of the Innovation Hub. Whenever they graduate, we want them to stay here. See, now we're talking about Volusia County entrepreneurial ecosystem. See, you will start here today or a year ago, in your case, Computer Innovation Challenge, in Lucas' case, and then you move and continue expanding. Now, one of the things that I do after kind of getting to know what is in Volusia County, let's check it out, what's going on in Orlando, right? And then you expand to see what's in Orlando, bunch of pitch competitions, bunch of meetups from investors, tech companies, then get to know what is in Central Florida. And then you continue going to the Tampa ecosystem, and you go to other cities. But the first thing is to start, even in your house, in the dining table, talk about ideas, talk about business, talk about money, be curious. I like another student said, like, he was at the beach,
We're not.
yeah, he was at the beach, and I don't want to go and have fun, I want to have fun and start a company. I mean, that is amazing. Anyway, so, talking about
I want to touch on one resource that is definitely well known, but is highly underutilized. So, you know, the MicaPlex, it's kind of funny because we look at the name that's on the side of it every day, and I bet most of the people here don't know that it's named after Congressman John Mica. Right? And that was funded by the congressman in order to bring high-paying jobs and high-quality jobs into Volusia County. By the way, that's your representative's job. Right? I know right now it's kind of hard to believe they work for you, but they do work for you. And so that resource is one that you have. You know, people look at these SBIR contracts and they look at these federal contracts that are out there, and you know, the secret I gotta tell you, and I hate to tell you, is that when that money is allocated, they already know who it's going to. But if you want to get those contracts, your congressman has to know what you can do to solve problems that their government is facing. And do it while bringing high-paying jobs into the county that they represent, because that is their job. Utilize that resource.
One thing I want to comment on too, for both of you all, yes, local government, and then the Connie's piece, there is a wide range of resources we're going to think about. There are other universities. The SBDC is at Daytona State College. Cohen has a similar center. We have the SCORE mentors in our area, and one thing, as somebody being new to a support role, the whole state is connected, and we'll connect you in any capacity. If we don't have resources here, we'll send you down to Tampa. If Tampa doesn't have it, you have Florida High Tech Corridor, Central Florida. If they don't, we might be able to connect you with Innovate FSU. Like, for this to be such a funding-focused kind of area is very collaborative around the state of Florida. I want to talk to Nathan and Lucas. How important, back to kind of the ecosystem from a university standpoint, how important is it to be on a college campus for you from a personnel and people you recruit standpoint, Lucas, for how it has grown your business being on the university?
Yeah, I can start. So I think in general, you know, there are just so many resources that are here in Embry-Riddle, and there are a lot of really intelligent people that you can tap from a talent pool perspective. Like, I bootstrapped my business. I started it 7 years ago as a freshman in high school as a video game project, and we grew a 23-person international team. When I came to college, I started talking about it. I started sharing those ideas, and I got some of my friends into the company who are now holding leadership roles. So I would say being here at Embry-Riddle, the college campus, the fact that we have the entrepreneurial resources that we do through the CIE, it has helped me to grow my business. It's helped me to start my business. If I did not go to the CIE, then I would not have competed in the TREP Expo last year. I likely would not have competed in the Volusia Innovation Challenge. And if I did not compete in the Volusia Innovation Challenge, I wouldn't be at the Volusia Innovation Hub. So coming to Embry-Riddle was instrumental in turning this video game project idea I had into an actual functioning business that is now growing rapidly today. So it's been everything.
So there's an interesting aspect of being on a college campus. Real quick, I can show you how many people are students. Okay. All right. And of those students, if you had a job that paid at least as well or equivalent to what you would be getting if you moved to Colorado or California or New York, to stay right here in Daytona Beach, show of hands how many of you would take? Okay. A couple of you would. The thing about being on a college campus is that it gets you into recruiting in a way that you can't get if you're operating somewhere else, right? We get access to talent. Quite frankly, we get access to talent that other people don't get access to. We get to run internships, right? And I would encourage anyone who has the opportunity to take an internship, take it. And don't treat your internship like a sure-thing job once you have it. Your internship is a 6-month interview. If you're walking up at the end of that internship and you don't have a full-time offer upon graduation, you've done it wrong. That internship is your bridge to that company's full-time career. The companies that are offering those are looking for it. Over half of the engineers at our company have come from our internship programs, whether it be here at Embry-Riddle or through UPenn. We plan to continue on that, and frankly, the best employees that we have, that we've ever hired in engineering, and I can pretty easily say that because all of our engineers went to one of those two schools, came through one of those two programs. And it's, so that's one aspect of it is the recruiting. The second aspect of it is that when someone takes an internship that they're working for your company or they're interested in working for your company, they have the opportunity to select their tech electives based on what would be relevant to that career that they're trying to build and the skills that are necessary. If you go through college and you try to be generalist, you'll end up being able to take the jobs that your specialist courses will help you get into. And if you know what that job is going to be already, or you know what role you're targeting, you can choose where your focuses are in order to try to be more valuable to that company. And the people we've seen do that have been highly successful. Embry-Riddle is a great place for that because there are so many specialists, right? If you want to go do re-entry systems on rocketry, we're not the company for you, but there are plenty who will hire you. And there's plenty of companies that will hire those people because there's not a whole lot of places you can learn that. So I guess what I would encourage people to do is look into specifically where you want to go, not the company generally, but what specific role do you want to go to, and set up your educational track to help you get there. And then get those internships early and make sure they know that you're doing everything you can to get into that dream role. And if you play that right, you'll get it. But if you don't think about it until after you've graduated, you've given away a huge part of the opportunity from your education.
All right. And then to chime in on Nathan yet again, and then other companies in the MicaPlex, if you want to see what this looks like close up, majority of them are hiring for internships, and you don't necessarily have to leave our campus. Nathan is a viral company, ERAU, who's in the eVTOL space. You have companies like FlexJet, even though they're not a startup, but they're established. But these are places where you can have these conversations, intern these individuals, and talk to a Nathan and watch how he moves and operates and manages his business so you can take some of those same practices on when it's your turn as well. I wanted to talk about, it makes me think about some meetings we've been in, Lou, about the great idea events that you've been thinking about.
Mhm.
Between you and Connie, we may have some folks in the room who are like, this sounds great, but I have no idea what my idea is. How do y'all help navigate those type of individuals?
You know, over the years, I've learned that the most critical part of the journey is right at the beginning, when you have that idea and how you vet the idea. Someone in the panel earlier was saying that, you know, you got to listen to the customer, and sometimes when you think it's awesome, they go, then we don't like it. And so this event that Dr. Mack was referencing is the you know, we call it so far the My Idea Expo. is a place where people with just an idea, you draw it on a napkin, okay? It has no form yet other than whatever came out of your, whatever you put on that piece of paper, and help you get to take the first step or the first few steps. What does that look like? Well, first, is it solving a specific problem, okay? And then there's a sequence of things so you can evaluate more, in detail about the problem. Is how big is the market? Is it how strong is the pain point? Does your customer target market have money? Okay, are they willing to pay, and do they have money? And I'll tell you this: I had for 10 years a business that it was meant to help international students get jobs in the U.S. And I killed that business on Friday because the target audience, and I'm sorry if there's any international students in the room, it's an audience that tends to be not, throwing cash around, okay? So we have since pivoted into a more specific area, but yeah, that's something that I wish I would have had that insight, 10 years ago. So this event is meant to help you really gauge if you have an idea that is worth pursuing, okay? That idea that really has a market that people are willing to pay for. So I hope I answered your question.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. And Connie, can you talk about it from the same place, and then how you have, from the Canvas training, how you have taken that from idea to implementation?
Yeah, many.
That's all good.
Yeah, so many people have ideas, and other people that want to be an entrepreneur, they don't have ideas. So I kind of like the ones that don't have ideas, because I can kind of teach what my mentor taught me, Dr. Jim Kearns, is, ideas come every second to your mind. Like, for instance, if you wake up in the morning, what is it you do? So if you go, what do you do? Just think about every second in your day. What do? You eat breakfast, then you come to school, then you try to park, then you're going back to the dorm. So during those hours or seconds, if you find a problem, and if you can solve the problem, voila, you have an idea, right? That's kind of the process. This is problem, I need to solve the problem. And then, yes, so they find a resource in your community that can help you to take that idea to the next level. Start here with the programs that Embry-Riddle has for students that want to become entrepreneurs. Take the class, but if you want to do the Innovation Hub, we have a program, it's called Launchpad Volusia. So in that program, we help our entrepreneurs with ideas, to validate ideas. It's a 9-week program. You don't have to have a business, you just have to have an idea. And what we teach you is the business model canvas methodology. Start with the business model canvas, and then the value proposition canvas, in which we ask our attendees to interview at least 10 to 15 end users. And that happens during the Launchpad, the 9 weeks program. And it's interesting because they come next week with the finance and say, hey, Connie, I interviewed 3 people and they say they want it. Or other people say, I interviewed 3 people and they say they don't want it. And then the following week, and I say, you know what, you interviewed 3, now interview more. So I kind of challenge them to open Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups, but with the name of the solution. For instance, I have in my past cohort, I have the founders of Mushroom Coffee, right, company, and they say, we don't know where to find the clients, we don't know what to do, how can we interview people who like mushroom coffee? So we start a Facebook group, Mushroom Coffee Lovers, and then I have them to open the Facebook group right there. Okay, Mushroom Coffee Lovers. And then the following Friday, they can discover we have 500 followers. Because, they wanted to follow them. And then they say, great, now you have 500 people that we need to interview. And then I cannot tell the clients to start asking questions without doing surveys. Ask questions. And then you're going to hear at the end of the program, they at least 1,000 people. They already know if they have market out there, and they already know if and how much they would sell. So one of the findings in that company is that many people want to find mushroom coffee in a personal service at the gas stations. So that was kind of amazing. So I went the other day to Wawa and I saw their mushroom coffee at the gas station. That was one of our clients. Like, my skin went goosebumps when I'm like, wow. Because here's the thing: when you start interviewing people, you go with the, can you please help me with this survey? I have 3 questions. Guess what? You're not going to sell, but at the end, it's a sales pitch, right? Because they say, oh, do you have mushroom coffee? Yes, we have mushroom coffee, and then those people end up buying it. So that's kind of what we do during the Launchpad Volusia. It's free. If you guys want to know more about it, just let me know after this. And that's how we help people validate the ideas. And one more thing I want to say is like, one of the things that I always tell my students or the clients out there is like, I don't want you to burn cash. I don't want you to burn money. Just burn the money on paper first. And if the business is not going to be viable, don't do it. But the process of getting to know how to interview the clients, how to work on the business model, how to pivot, how to find product market fit is going to help you with the following idea, with the next idea. And then you continue until you get something that you find feasible.
All right, just to kind of level set where we are, I want to take some time for some questions, but I wanted really for you to take notes. You have some really great perspectives of people who are navigating it as business owners, funding opportunities, coaching opportunities. I know for us at MicaPlex, we have our pitch competition April 3rd, where the first prize is going to be up to $15,000. But once again, being a part of the ecosystem, you have, it's almost like a grocery store. You have access to all these resources and even people to help you navigate it. So is there any questions? I want to take some time for that to make sure everybody gets to speak from their heart on what questions they have.
So for each one of you, assuming you all started businesses and they've become hugely successful, you're still doing it. What's the biggest thing that you've had to sacrifice in order to have this business come to fruition, or something you've had to give up that you really want to hold on to, but in the end you were like, I need to let this go so I can focus more on what I want to do with this business?
I'll take that first. So I got 2 answers. It's time and people. Obviously, we all know that entrepreneurship is very glamorized. I think a lot of people look at it, they like the concept of business, they like the concept of money, they like the concept of really going and doing it. But entrepreneurship can be very lonely. There are many nights where you're going to be the only individual in the office, and it's just you and your thoughts and your laptop and your work. Something else I'll find too is that when you get started in entrepreneurship and you're bootstrapping, you are going to bring in your friends. You're going to bring in your colleagues who are going to help you create the business. And sometimes what you'll find is that maybe those individuals are great as friends, but maybe they're not necessarily great as business partners that are going to be involved. And so, in reality, I think the 2 biggest sacrifices that I have to make are understanding time. There are nights where I will go 17 hours straight, in the office, and Kira's there too, it's really great. But yeah, and also just from a people perspective, sometimes people want to go out and they want to go to parties or college, and it's like, oh, I gotta go work, we're gonna work on the business. And there's other times where maybe the individuals that are involved in the company, it's like, let's talk about, is this really the best
So it doesn't get easier. The profitability does get better, but the job does not get easier as you grow.
You know, so I heard you talk. If I'm honest with myself, I don't think I've actually felt that I've been rescinding anything that I wanted in terms of, for example, time. Yeah, I've had, you know, I also have a wife and a son where, you know, I'll see them late one time, or maybe I don't see them until the next morning. But I've enjoyed the process, meaning while I was doing that work, I was really into it, so I didn't feel like a trade-off. The one trade-off that I think I've had for real is that I am like a squirrel and I'm looking at different things and I would like to tackle like 20 at the same time. And for better or worse, for your business to work, you have to focus on the one thing. You have to be working on that. And so for me, sometimes seeing something shiny on the side, I do feel held back that I want to pursue it, but I can't. I need to stick with this. So that's probably my most difficult thing to rescind.
So that's a great question. Actually, I have a full-time job, but I have also some side business. I write books on healthy living. So I sacrifice my weekends. I sacrifice going out. A lot of things that my daughters now are in college, so I live alone. So I don't want to go out with anybody because I want to build this digital company. So sometimes I have to sacrifice my peace because, you know, when you're blending the smoothies to the perfect picture, I wanted to take that blend and just send it to the wall. I don't want to blend anymore. And the photographer is like, Nina, one picture. I'm like, oh my gosh. You know, it's a lot going on when you're starting a company, a lot of emotions, a lot of money, because, you know, especially when you're building your branding, it has to be beautiful, you know? And then one thing, I want to tell you one thing, you know, when I was writing those ebooks, it was during the pandemic. And then I was like validating the concepts with 20 of my high school student classmates. They're all in Colombia. And then we went through the process, was validating my idea, making sure the recipes make people lose weight. So I was working at 6 p.m. Everybody go to work, do this and that. And I was seeing the progress, and everybody was losing weight, everybody's getting better and better. And I was so tired because I was trying to motivate everybody. So I was sacrificing my sanity sometimes. But I needed to show them that this can be done, especially during COVID. You know, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm pretending, but I cannot show that I am tired, that I'm burning out. I cannot show them that I was about to give up. So I didn't give up. But kind of slowed down and I stopped because it was too much. Full-time job, full-time mom, and then this. So I stopped, and I stopped for 1 year. Somebody sent me a message like maybe last year and said, Connie, remember when you did this pilot program with your recipes? And then she said, yeah. I said, are you doing this business? And I said, no, I burn out. I burn out a lot of money. And then she said, you shouldn't stop. And I said, why? Because she cured herself from 3 illnesses that she had going on. So it was a lot about the recipes. So when she called me and she said, please do not stop, because that I cured myself from some illnesses, that came back to me. I'm like, oh, wow. So I went back to my books and I decided to finish the books. And now, last night actually, my sister said, finally, it's in Amazon. Think about it. I started in 2020, and it's been 4 years. And now my books are in Amazon. They're copyrighted here in the United States and in Colombia. I'm telling you, he applied, he got like $750,000. And then he got $2 million. And then NASA told him, we want you to work for us. Reason I'm telling you these stories is because you might have an idea right now and you might be tired, you might be like losing hope because starting a company is not easy and also depends on the industry, you know. We live in an era that we expect instant results. Things will not happen overnight. And if you're in the space industry, it's going to take like 10 years, maybe 5. You're in the service industry, you might have 2 or 3 years like validation. So one thing I want to tell you, never give up, never. Put it aside, rest, kind of like compose yourself. Just continue, but if you want to start all over again, do it. So if you're a student right now and you have an idea and now you're about to graduate and then you're going to give it up and then, yeah, go and work for 1 year or 2, but come back to your idea and see if you can make that happen. Because if you make that happen, whatever you make in 1 year as an employee, like maybe $80,000, you can make it in a month when you find the product market fit. So, sorry, that was a lot.
No problem, no problem. Can you give a round of applause for our panelists? Some have to be in transition. Others will be here for the lunch. You want to ask more individual questions. But I want you to really walk away with, if you have an idea from what I'm hearing is an idea of purpose, an idea of why to solve problems, there are resources for you if you want to walk it out. Whether that is mentorship from some of these individuals here, or there's resources on coaching, training, legal, things of that nature. So, not saying it's not an excuse, but there's ample opportunity to help you build your idea. Sounds good? All right. So we will transition, I think, to lunch. Am I right? Yeah. So we'll transition to lunch, and then we'll take the program from there.
Do one more round of applause, please, then.
Huh?
It's a microphone.
Oh, they're using it?
Yeah.
Okay.
With that being said, we're transitioning to lunch.